you hear me? Are we really live? Okay.
We're
Yes.
really live. We're
We're
good.
good,
We can
we're
all
good.
hear each other,
We're doing
which
it.
is amazing because a lot of times that doesn't work, but we can all hear each other.
True.
Kaitlyn, thank you for coming on. You're really our first Cutting Stems guest we've ever had.
What?
It's true.
I think I asked for this. I was like, can I be a guest on Cutting Stems? I think my team reached out to you. I was like, I want to be a part of this.
We always feel bad asking people because it is late. So it's like, we're like,
Not me
sometimes we
being
feel bad.
desperate.
Yeah. No, actually, Kaitlyn,
We love it.
Not Joe and Serena did an episode. Now that I remember, Kelly, with it on the.
I was gonna
that was
say
in studio.
but they're like to me they're a package deal, and they were our guest hosts. Like they came in and they ran the show. You know what I mean? Like they came in and they were like,
I
Joe
wish I
was
was
like,
in
here
New
I am,
York.
I'm gonna run the show.
Yeah,
right. It helps out that they're right around the corner, basically. So it helps out for us.
Yeah,
but yes, other than
the
that,
Bachelor
you're
Nation.
the only one here.
Yeah, we sent the Bachelor Nation bat signal out that for that one. Like, hello, everybody, help. They always come to the rescue. But guys, we're almost to the end here. And I just like this episode specifically, now that we're going into hometowns is when I really do feel like it's going to get a little bit more unpredictable. This episode, very predictable. It was just, you were just waiting. Like, as soon as you knew Brooklyn was getting that date, it was like, he's going to send Brooklyn home. Like, it just felt very predictable. They're in Budapest. Kaitlyn, what have you thought of their locations this season? They've gotten to go to some cool places.
I'm telling you what, they saved some serious budget over the quarantine years, because I was like, wait, what? They're going everywhere that I would have dreamt to go. And again, I never want to seem like bitter at the places I went, but I'm like, come on, man. I went to Iowa twice. I went to South Dakota. I went to Texas. I went to New York. They thought like, oh, she's Canadian. She's so like living the dream out here in the States using her passport. But yeah, they're getting to go to some pretty incredible places, and I am clearly jealous.
Even when you guys were hosting, I feel like you didn't get to
you really got screwed.
the Jesse Palmer treatment of just like popping up in his sweaters and like awesome places.
How about Jesse Palmer?
Not only was I not getting paid the host role, I was also stuck in like a hotel where our meal options were like chicken tenders and fries in New Mexico. But again, I enjoyed it. I really did. I would do it again.
Exactly.
It is fun, but I'm sure it would have been a lot more luxurious if you were in Budapest by any chance. Fran, last week, where were they last week, Fran? That you looked it up on a map? Estonia. I had to look up Budapest on a map today. So I just want you to know that you're not alone in not recognizing Eastern Europe, because I did not know exactly where it was. And I was like, damn, I should probably know this.
I feel that.
So it's pretty picturesque. It's not a place I would ever think like, oh yeah, we're going to go here. We're going to find a romance in Budapest. Like, not something that I would think of, but I guess, I don't know.
But can I tell you, it does not matter where you go. Again, it could be Iowa, and it will always be the perfect place to fall in love.
Oh, exactly. Like
correct.
The opening line is always, "Oh, Budapest, the perfect city for falling in love." They could send them to like Guantanamo Bay, and he would have to be like, Guantanamo Bay, the perfect place to fall in love.
You just have to wheel in a hot tub. Love will be had.
I swear. Yep, the same wooden hot tub every time.
Exactly. Do you think it's the same wooden hot tub every time? Like, I know that they can't travel with a hot tub. No way. They bring it on the plane?
I would, no, okay, I doubt they bring it on the plane, but when they were in quarantine, that it was the same one. Like, they would drive it in from LA to New Mexico with the crew and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I love that information. I'm so glad to know that. That's insane.
Reused hot tub. But Zach is at the point where he's had one-on-ones with everybody. So now people are getting double one-on-ones, which is really like the big sign here. Jess would have been very upset if she hadn't been picked at this point. But Kaity got the second one-on-one, and they had a perfect date. Kelly, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because I feel like Kaity and Zach have had not one issue, and it's almost like is going so well that if he does pick her, they're going to get like into a fight when the show ends or something, because it's just,
I agree.
So well.
They're so right. Like they're so too well. They're like so in sync and they feel good together and whatever. And that's fine. But I'll tell you something. I do feel like it's more of a friends vibe, but like flirty friends. Like, oh, they're flirty friends. They're hanging out. They're having a good time, whatever. That's kind of the vibe I get. Also, remind me, is Kaity the one that lives in his hometown, or they live in the same town? There's a girl, or maybe she's gone. One of them lives in like the same town as Zach. And I'm
convinced. I'm convinced Kaity is Canadian because tonight she said grade 8 instead of the 8th grade, and that's what we say in Canada.
Yeah. That's a fair argument. There was a girl here that was definitely in the same. I'm gonna look in the chat and see if the chat is telling me. Chat, please tell us where she's from. Let's see. Oh, I'm right. People are saying they're from the same place. They both live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, they're from Austin.
In my head, I've always been like, oh, okay, well, the proximity thing, true. But the proximity thing, I was like, that's a leg up for sure. And at least I would say guarantees a ticket to hometowns at the very least. And they do get along really well. They're in the same area. Yeah. It all seems very convenient. They get along so well. They're so similar, this and that. And again, as we know, that doesn't always mean, a love story. But I do think that she's definitely she's obviously going to hometown. So it's like, we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah. Kaitlyn, what do you think of Kaity?
I'm actually, I feel like such a fan watching seasons lately instead of an insider, because you telling me that, I'm like, what?
So she lives in Austin, but she is Canadian, Kaitlyn. You're right.
I
knew She's from Kingston, Ontario. People are saying.
I freaking knew it because
I
get
really
called out for that all the time. There's so many weird things with saying, like, I always say like grade 1, grade 2, and Americans are like, what? We say the 2nd grade. Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm watching it now. Like I forget that I know inside scoops, or like you saying that makes me feel silly for not seeing that for myself. They do have just friendship flirty vibes. I was here sitting thinking they were in love, but you're right. It's there's not like that
compared to.
But I don't feel that with anyone. No, I don't feel that. I don't feel like he wants to jump on anyone. Like he's so in love. I don't feel like there's a clear front runner.
That's a good point. I would say that I think that he sexually, I don't think he's jumping on anybody. Like I feel like I have yet to see him like get a boner for any of these girls. I'll be honest, but I do think
maybe that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Like I do feel like chemistry wise, I still think after last week, his like chemistry and conversations, and I guess a little bit of sexual energy in like a hot tub with Ariel was something else. Like the most I had seen thus far myself. Like maybe I didn't notice other people, but yeah, with Kaity, it wasn't that same kind of energy. Just felt a little more like we're like young kids messing around in a foreign city, and we're like gonna take a shot and we're gonna be silly, and it was cute and it was great to watch. But for some reason, I didn't get that like, wow, this is a burning, passionate love.
Especially at this point with going to meet families, where it's like usually you do start to feel like you're both falling in love at that point.
Yeah, I think I would be more worried about that because I do get what you're saying. I would be more worried if he was overly affectionate or sexual with the other women, but he's kind of the same. And I agree that there isn't really like a clear front runner out of this top 4. Like I could see it being any of them. It's just really, I don't know. It's going to be I honestly think it's going to be whichever girl is the most confident about it to Zach, because we'll talk about Kat leaving or being sent home, but like with Kat, I just felt like this week she started to have some doubts, and as soon as Zach picked up on it, he was like, well, now she's gone because I got all these other girls here that don't have any doubts at all.
Well, that's
every single time
that's his
any
MO.
Girl has any sliver of like confrontation or argument or like any
Where at
sliver of
first
doubt.
that was
like,
really
bye.
refreshing. Yeah, at first it was refreshing.
Yes.
You're like, oh, he's getting rid of the drama. And now you're like, oh no, he's just getting rid of anyone who isn't like, I'm obsessed with you in full confidence and I'm here for this. Let's go.
Yes, which
Completely,
is kind of a red flag.
And
could be an issue.
I also don't even think I'm not really, I was never really like a total fan of Kat. I had thought in my head that she was going to go home, just again based on like the little tiny snippet of drama we had with her like last week. But I feel like she didn't even really say, I'm not into Zach. The mentalist guy, who I love, by the way, went on and just asked, like, did you question this process? Did you think about leaving? And she said, yes, I have, because this process is hard. And she was just talking about the process. I would say that if he had asked that to any of the other girls, they would have said the same thing. Like, of course, like one night you went home and cried at your pillow and wished that you were at home. Like, I feel like that, of course that's going to happen. This is something like unlike anything they've ever experienced.
Not to Zach.
But not to Zach, right? Not to Zach. Not to Zach.
I
could
feel like when
there's no grace
like
from him.
Changed. Yeah.
Katie said something like, I can't remember what she said, but he was like, oh, now I'm confused because you're confused. And I'm like, aren't we all a little confused here? I feel like that was so real for her to be like, you're about to meet my family and I haven't got a one-on-one date and I don't feel like this is my husband. So isn't that okay to be a little confused over that? That's what I thought.
Absolutely.
Isn't confusion a part of the love process? Like, I feel like that is lost on Zach. Like he is so like, he's so in the process and he is so dedicated to finding love that he's not leaving any room for like nuance or reality at all so far. I like him, but he's very intense.
Yeah, definitely. You can feel that way, and it seems to be just getting more intense. But I mean, that date with Katie did go well. She got a rose, so she knew she's headed to hometowns. And then they did this group date with this mentalist that honestly was one of my favorite group dates that they've done this season. I love a mentalist. Like,
so into it.
I don't want to be in that chair, but I want to watch it happen to everybody else.
I want to be in the chair. I want to be a mentalist. I want to study him. I want to know his tricks. Like, I actually think Jason calls me a witch sometimes because I truly believe that I am a mentalist. So, well, okay.
We're 2 out of 3 witches on this show, right? Kelly is also
this is a witch program.
This is
self-proclaimed.
Wait, and if
majorly pro.
So wait, you have doubts?
A shit ton of candles. About what? What do you mean?
No, not you, Kelly.
I'm just not a witch.
Fran's sitting there judging both of us right now.
And I was like, wait, she's chilling. She doesn't want to get involved in our riffraff, Kaitlyn.
Exactly.
She's like, no, I don't have time for the riffraff.
That's all I say. Yeah.
She respects
Fran.
Yeah.
Fran, if you
respect your practices.
If you don't believe I can move things with the power of my mind, put your hand up.
Wow. God, Fran, you look so stupid now.
I know, yeah. Oh, she got me.
I got her good.
Wait, what were you saying? So wait, Jason thinks you're a witch?
Yeah, he thinks I'm a legit witch. Like, sometimes he'll just have a deck of cards and he'll ask me which one he's going to pull, and I'll do it a lot of times.
That's incredible. That's an amazing like skill to have. Like, good.
You're on your way.
Great. I love that.
Yeah. So many crystals.
Yes, there you are. All the crystals. So many crystals. You're dropping crystals. I forgot I have a crystal. It's in my purse, actually.
Well, you're on your way to being this mentalist.
Exactly. The mentalist, I thought, was a fun idea, and I think that whenever they do things that, again, that don't involve like weird food stuff. I hate that, Kaitlyn. I don't like any of the food dates. It's a big no for me. But all of the other, right, the other ones where it's like a, I don't know, like tricks and funny and a little lighthearted, and they don't have to perform anything. Like, those are always good because it kind of makes everybody like on the same playing field. Like, everyone's uncomfortable. Zach's uncomfortable. The girls are. It's not that like, one's judging another. It's all just like an open flow conversation.
Like
everybody at the end can be like, whoa.
The freaking like football and like who's more competitive and athletic, and then the one team has to go home. I'm like, can't we all just be vulnerable in the circle every date? Yeah.
I know. Wouldn't that be nice? Like, that would just be nice.
Yeah,
The football thing is always like, I don't want to go and play football and get covered in bruises and then have to go home because I know that I'm not going to win because I'm not going to run up that field. Like, it's just not happening.
No.
It's not my
I'm
vibe.
with you. Not my vibe.
This was a very good choice of a date to kind of like get into these girls' heads a little bit right before going into like hometowns. So it definitely did the job it was supposed to do. And some opened up more than others to Zach. But like you said, it's really hard to see a clear front runner. There was one moment where he kind of like pushed Gabby up against the wall a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's a little something. But
that was a little
like Gabby.
He said, you give the best hugs. Oh my God. And it was like,
I know. I was like, boner kill. It was like, he like pushed her and was like, you give the best hugs.
Yeah. It's like
so weird. He's just kind of awkward, I guess. Like he's clearly awkward. He's said the whole time, but every once in a while he's got like, a little charisma. I was entranced by him the first couple episodes. I was like, Zach is hot. He's got like a good personality and I'm into it. And I still feel that way, but I do think he's starting to feel it. Like it's down to the wire and he's got to start making some choices.
Well, I don't know if he like has that sexual, like, I don't know if he has that sexual energy, but we could have like a Pilot Pete situation where none of us thought he had it. And then we were proven very wrong.
That's what I think. That's what I think is so exactly true. Because they're teasing that whole, the whole fantasy suite thing, which I'm sure we'll get to, where you're like, he's not going to have sex. And then you're like, oh, he clearly has sex. Yeah. But that's, I'm saying, like I actually reached out to Zach and I apologized because I was like, before everything started, I said, I know I like chirped you and I said you were probably really boring, but like you're part of the family now. And totally, we all said it. Rooting for you to be happy. And then I did. I found like he had some charm and some humor and he was good. And I just feel like he's so tired right now.
Has to be. I
think he's tired.
Yeah. Definitely.
Even after the fact, like even just even watching it back, I'm sure he's tired. I'm sure he's like, Jesus Christ, like this again. Like I can't. God.
It's that part of the journey where you're just exhausted and you're like, I don't want to deal. I already know who like my top 3 are at this point. I don't want to deal with this bullshit. And you're tired.
And he had COVID, like he was like quarantined.
It's a long symptom. He's tired.
He's tired.
Fair.
Gabby got the group date rose. And then honestly, the other 2 parts of this episode were where the predictability came in. I think we all knew there was no shot he was going to let Greer come back into the process. It was just way too late. Relationships were established. Like I felt bad for her because it's like, oh, the poor girl was just in a hotel room, locked in for days, couldn't talk to anyone, couldn't come out, finally does get to come out, and then he's fine and travels from wherever she was to Budapest to meet them. And then it was like, time to actually pack those bags.
I hope she is collecting Delta miles or like any sort of airline miles, because otherwise that could have been an email or a Zoom call, which we all know they're capable of.
Right.
100%. They went to, I'm trying to figure out where Greer was, because did she ever even make it to Estonia, or was she like stuck in London this whole time? Or did they drag her through both?
I think she was in London.
I wonder in London.
Yeah. I think so too. Which like, Kelly, I mean, there are worse places to get stranded with COVID, but I guess like.
What was the guy? Why am I spacing on his name? On Gabby and Rachel's season that got COVID and then just like disappeared. And he's
what was his name?
The one that he picked Rachel and then he picked Gabby and then he went back like
I see his face so clearly.
He was Logan.
And I can't.
Logan.
Logan.
Thank you.
Yes.
They should have just did what they did. Wow. Like Logan like got COVID and then like just disappeared. There was no conversation. Yeah. He was just like sent home. Like Greer should have just they should have just been like, so sorry. Greer's no longer with us. They always say it like the person's passed. Like it's like Greer's no longer part of this journey.
Fortunately, Jesse all the time. Unfortunately, no longer with us every time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too much.
And I think that would have been better because honestly, we all saw that one coming. And unfortunately, Brooklyn was the same kind of thing. I think he liked Brooklyn, but there was just we all like, it just wasn't close to where these other relationships are. And Kaitlyn, we talk every week like that Zach is very enthusiastic about the women he likes. Like these dates with Ariel, he's like, Ariel's amazing. She's this, she's that. Like he really pumps up the ones he likes. And not that he says bad things about anybody, but it's like, you can tell when he doesn't have that same feeling towards certain girls. And Brooklyn was one of them.
Maybe that's why I was so shocked because I just caught up recently and I didn't watch the first few episodes, which was the first time in a long time that I haven't done that. So I haven't like been able to calculate Zach's emotions, where this, I was like, Brooklyn. I was so sad. I was like, but no, I thought she was top 3 material.
Maybe if they spend more time, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I was also really surprised. I thought Kat was going to get that date. Like I really did not think Brooklyn was going to get that date. Once Brooklyn got that date, I knew he was sending her home. He was like, I'm going to do this privately.
I thought they were both on the chopping block after that weird, like when they were having a tiff about the like kid before the date and whatever, like all that drama. I remember, like, I don't think Zach really knew about that, but he could sense that something was up. And again, like the minute that he has senses for drama, like he just, whether it's immediately or it's the next episode, like you're gone. Like if you're not, I don't know. It's something about it. I don't think that, I think that them on the date though, him and Brooklyn together, I think Zach was just like checked out of it because she was trying, you know what I mean? Like she was really working, trying to make that connection, keep it. And Zach was like head in the clouds the whole time, I felt.
Yeah, I also feel, and I'm saying this because I can and because I've been in the situation, but I feel like all the women just synced up on their period this week too. Like the emotions, you could just tell. And I'm like, I had so much sympathy for them because I know what that feels like. And I know people out there that are watching believe in either full moon, your period coming earlier, or the women syncing their cycles when you're all spending too much time together. And not only are your emotions running high because of so many other factors, but when all of you start your period at the same time, I swear it's powerful and also very obvious.
Yeah. Well, at one point, who was crying? Maybe Gabby, who was like, I've just been emotional the past couple of days. I was like, you can period. I know it. I can tell.
Crying,
I'm just emotional.
They're all also like kind of happy. Like it's like they're sad for themselves, but then they're like, but I'm really happy for you. Like,
Exactly. I was like, oh, I feel this.
Yeah. We're definitely at that. We're definitely at that point where they're like,
it's synced sisters.
They're friends, and it's a lot. So, Charity, when they took Brooklyn's bags out, Charity was very visibly upset.
Beside herself.
Yeah. So that was very, very sad. I felt bad for Brooklyn too, because it's just one of those scenarios where Zach is probably like, I really wish I was allowed to break up with her at the beginning of this date.
Yeah.
Because the poor girl just poured her heart to me about her grandfather and how she was raised and all these things and how she's ready to bring me home. And now I have to tell her that I am breaking up with her.
I think that's why Zach gets emotional towards the end, because he's like, this is why I wanted to do this earlier. Now she opens up, but it's nice. I always want people like Brooklyn to understand this. It's not embarrassing to open up like that and then get sent home. It's actually really nice to get to know her a little bit better and understand her and see that softer side. So she should have no, shame or guilt or embarrassment around sharing those things and then going home, because you're like, I'm really glad we got to like see that side of her.
I agree.
I totally agree. Especially as a viewer, it's like, it's nice to see that as a viewer. It is sad at the end. And I do appreciate though, that Zach does keep getting emotional about this, because that means he has a soul. You know what I mean? Like it sucks for him to have to do this. He knows he has to do this. Everybody knows that he has to do it, but he's still touched by their stories, touched by their lives. And, I'm sure if he could marry them all, he would. That's the vibe I get.
Maybe he should do like a Sister Wives vibe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll just head over to like Utah or wherever they do that. It's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That show's on TLC.
Oh, yeah, right? Oh, yeah. But in Utah, right? That's where they live.
Just hop networks and he'll be good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
He does send home Kat the rose ceremony, which he is also upset about because he is, I think, very surprised. He definitely felt like they had a super strong connection. But I really think it's like as soon as she started to get nervous and kind of need the reassurance from him, he was like, well, now I don't know why she's not so confident. Like, this
Are
has
we
to end.
finding that to be like a red flag for Zach, that he just flips on them as soon as they have any insecurities? Yeah, it's a pattern.
Yes, it's certainly a pattern, if anything. And I would say definitely a red flag. It's only a red flag because he doesn't recognize that he's doing it and do anything about it. Like, he doesn't ever take a second to think, am I in the wrong here? It's very much like, this is my show and I'm running it, and tough, That's he's
what
kind of intense in that way.
His final two are both going to be understandably insecure and questioning and wondering what they're getting into or if it's them. And I'm so curious to see how he handles these kinds of emotions when they're very valid.
Definitely. I keep saying like I'm watching out for those conversations as the group gets smaller and smaller, because I feel like in his mind it's so easy to just not deal with the conflict when he knows there's so many other women that are there for him. It's like, Greer, she can go.
I got 8 others.
Jess, she can go. Like, I like them all.
I already got a couple brunettes.
But I got all these other girls that like really like me. So yes, definitely when it gets down to a smaller group, it'll be interesting. He does look like he's gonna get tested a little bit in hometowns next week, as always. We have a double whammy. Honestly, I'm a little bit worried about this women tell all, because they had no drama. Like, I don't even know what are they going to fight about during this?
There will always be the auditions for Paradise. There will always be the people who are going to create some drama or stand up for someone else. And we know a lot will happen when Women Tell All? Next week?
Yeah, it's double episode, Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There'll be something to create drama around that I have no doubt.
And so do we also think that when we see the preview for Fantasy Suites that he went in with the mindset of like, I'm not going to have sex with anybody, and then he just has sex with one person?
Yes.
I think probably.
And that's okay. I don't know what's going to happen, because if he realizes in that moment that this is his person, I don't know if somebody's going to make him feel shame around it, but if it is his person, I hope he does not feel shame around that.
I know. I wish he didn't give we'll have to see the whole episode, obviously, but it seems like he kind of gave himself that role, which is like, why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself?
Right.
Why are you giving yourself the rule? And also, why are you, like, if you to yourself, I'm like, all right, I want to really try to like spend the night with these girls, get to know them. Like, I don't want any expectation of sex, like whatever. That I totally understand. And I also not wanting them to have any expectation of sex. Right. Understandable too. But in that, I feel like the girls should already have that, like, no expectation of sex. But for him to like announce it and be like, no sex, guys, don't even fucking try it. You know what I mean? Like, that to me, then now all the girls know, like, well, he's not having sex. So like, if you have sex with him, let me know, because apparently, he's two-time in some of us. And
I wonder if they're doing that thing where they're all in the same room and hotel after. Like, I wonder if they're separated or all together. But I mean, I kind of understand where Zach's coming from, because I am a virgin. So
exactly. We thought that you would. That's why we had you on tonight.
Yes.
Totally get it.
Truly unfathomable. Just cannot believe he would make a decision like that.
No.
Nope.
All right, Kelly, do you have the YouTube up? Do we want to take some questions from
I do have the YouTube up, and I asked for questions already.
Oh, so Kelly, you're just so ahead of the game.
I know. I'll tell you what, though. I did ask it a little while ago, so it's going to take me a minute to
scroll up. But I'm sure there'll be something.
Take me a minute to scroll. People are really popping off in the chat. They're loving it.
Us or Kaitlyn.
Oh, that's fun.
Let's see.
The chat is always a good time. People really just love to talk about the Bachelor.
Love to chat, right? They're just chatting with themselves. It's great.
Yeah.
Who are we thinking? Who are we thinking for Fantasy Suites? Oh, shoot. Sorry. The chat's moving too fast. Who are we thinking for fantasy suites, and who do you think he slept with? So who do we think doesn't make it past hometowns? And then second parter, who does he have sex with?
Right now, my top 3 is, from what we have, is Ariel, Kaity, Gabby.
Ariel,
I'm going to go...
Ariel, Kaity, Gabby. I think that's a really good top 3. I just think that he's...
I just think, like, actually, I do sense the most, like, playful sexual chemistry from him and Gabby. So maybe Gabby?
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, and I think
would
Kaity,
Gabby have sex with him?
But then it could also be like Ariel, because I think like
Ariel.
I think Ariel's like too good for him, and in the real world, he'd be like, I could not get this.
Yes, agreed.
And
also,
she's
I think
spicy.
Ariel might have a little. Yeah, she has a little freak in her. Like, she's ready to go. Like, she's also too, like, they have this weird, like, I don't know. They have like a palpable, like, some kind of tension. I wouldn't say it's like fully sexual, but it's some kind of like something between them where I'm like, that would, if I were her or him in that situation, it would feel irresistible. Like, it's something about, I don't know, that date really struck me. I keep talking about it since last week, but something about them together.
Even today,
like,
seeing them together today interact, I felt most tension between them in like a sexual chemistry way, where now, like you said, the chemistry with him and Kaity, right? It was very flirty, high school vibes.
Yes.
And then who's the other one? There's Ariel,
Gabby,
Kaity,
and Charity.
Oh, Gabby and Charity. But
Charity's family.
Charity's family looks incredible, don't they?
Yes, they look great, but they also look like they want nothing to do with Zach so far. Like, they're questioning him. They're gonna grill him.
Ariel's family did too. Ariel's brother was like, "What's my sister's middle name?"
I love that question.
That was hilarious. I love that too. What's her birthday? Like, that's amazing. He should know that. He should know the birthday at least.
No idea.
True, of course he has no idea. But like, wouldn't you think? Like, I feel like that's
Kaitlyn. Did you know your guys' birthdays?
No, I didn't.
Question.
Hey, Ramen, I didn't. I actually.
Oh my God.
Ramen, come here. I actually don't feel like I knew their birthdays, or if I did, I didn't remember. But I remember asking them their zodiac signs.
Yeah.
That's I was gonna say, like, the only reason I would know your birthday is because I want to know when you're born. I could probably regurgitate like, oh, he's born in May, but I only know that because he's a Taurus, like that.
But I did ask their middle names. I always wanted to know their middle names.
Good.
That's a good question. I love
Kelly,
those,
what else we got?
Kind of questions. Okay. Do we think it's strange how close all of the girls are? That is a good question, I think, only because I will say this season, they all seem like more than ever, like, attached to each other. And I'm thinking maybe it's like because Zach keeps canceling dates or spending a lot of time, just them. Like, what do we think about that?
Well, I will only answer from experience because the final 3 were me, Becca, and Whitney, and we still to this day are close, and we were like trying to sneak to each other's rooms and not his room because we were all so close and we cared so much about each other. And you really do find some really special friendship bonds over there. But I will say that's rare. I feel like that's weird and rare. So do I think it's weird? Yes. Do I think it's beautiful? Also, yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Feel like I do kind of feel like there are always some fairly strong bonds that are formed within the women, and a lot of seasons, because there's so much messiness, you just never really see it. And with this season, it just hasn't been that messy. So I think it's just naturally created a focus more on these girls getting along, and that's why everyone's like focused on it, because there just hasn't been like there hasn't just been like a gnarly fight where you're just like, what's happening? They've all been
everyone on the internet.
supportive.
It's always like, what happened to women supporting women? And then when women support women, they're like, this is weird.
Or like, this is boring.
It's fake.
It's fake.
It's boring.
Yeah.
Always, every time.
Normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do one more. This is just a general question that we get every single time. Now we're getting close to the end. Who do we think out of this group of girls, everybody that we saw in today's episode, could be a good bachelorette?
All of them.
It's always a question. I think that they're all pretty good.
Really good batch. It's a really
people
good.
People are throwing around
chickens. They're really good batch. Any of them can hatch.
Great batch.
Great batch. Like a cupcake. Like I'm thinking cupcakes, like great batch of cupcakes. Like these girls got sprinkles, confetti.
Yeah, they're not just vanilla. They've got a bunch of sprinkles, rainbow colors. I actually think the only one and maybe this is, I don't want this to come across as rude, but the only one I couldn't see being Bachelorette is Kaity, because I feel like we haven't got to know enough about her where we see all these different sides of her, where we really actually have with the other girls. Not to say we won't get to see that soon, but the other three I could totally see as Bachelorette.
I agree.
Ariel just hasn't had time.
Ariel is
I would like to see Ariel as the Bachelorette. I think she would be awesome.
I think she would too. I think she'd be amazing.
Yeah, she's one of those like I'm going to say it, rough around the edges in the best way possible, because I love rough around the edges, and I'm sick of seeing people that aren't rough around the edges.
Same.
And I love that.
I want somebody messy.
She's so relatable. I will say that.
Mm-hmm. I always want kind of a mess. Like I feel like that. I mean, she is not kind of a mess, but if she were the Bachelorette, I would hope that it would be like not messy in a negative way, just like realistic,
and relatable,
honest,
dating.
Raw. Yeah,
you're
like that
dating
kind of stuff.
all these different kinds of personalities, and that alone is messy. So let's see it.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
I have a question, and it's just going to be for Kaitlyn, because I want to know her thoughts on this. What do you think of because I feel like all these girls are so great, and I don't know if you see like the accounts, like the data accounts and all that exist, but it's just kind of crazy to me how the following, the social media following for a lot of these contestants is just like nowhere near what it used to be. And like what's your take on that? Like, why do you think that is?
I've been trying to figure that out myself, because I was looking at, because I'm engaged to a numbers guy, I used to be like, who cares about followers? And now I'm like, actually numbers make sense, because it becomes a business and it becomes your reality and you can build something. And so now I'm like, oh, what's Zach at? And I looked and he's like 108 or something thousand. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And again, not because in a way where I'm like loser, in a way where I'm like, this show has just changed so much. And I don't know if it's because we crave as an audience more authenticity, where we know these people are going on a show and perhaps wanting a career out of it or wanting to be an influencer, and we get enough of that in our For You page and everywhere else, that I wonder if that's part of it, or if it's just people, I don't know. Or I mean, the ratings are down too, so that's got to have something to do with the numbers. But I've wondered the same thing. I'm like, oh, that's that. I mean, is it sad? It's not sad. It's just interesting.
It is interesting, because it goes back to I forget what the girl who was who Zach immediately sent home, because she had said everybody would have 50K followers at this point, and none of them do. So it's just it's interesting at this point that and maybe it's just the age of influencers, because there are so many now.
Yeah, it's I do think so. It's how many Bachelor people can you really follow, and what else are they really bringing to the table that other people aren't? And it all just feels very monotonous, the same every season, and we're not as curious, and we don't feel as though they're relatable. I don't know. I think it's a bunch of things combined.
Yeah. I also feel too, the news cycle moves so quickly that if something happens in Bachelor Nation, I'll hear about it secondhand through some, page 6, some other Bachelor fan account will be on it. And I don't necessarily be following Zach to see that. So I'm like, oh, I know what's going on, but I didn't see it directly from the source. You just
it was a little more exclusive before, where
you couldn't just repost everybody's things. You had to go see it for yourself.
Right. That's true. That's a good point too. Yeah. Again, it's so many things that add up into it, I think.
Yeah, that is very true. Okay, so last thing we do is cut some stems and give out roses. So your favorite and least favorite part of tonight's episode. Why don't Kelly? Why don't you kick it off, Kelly, and give us your stem cut and
all right.
rose.
Let me think about this. Yeah. Let me think about this. I'm going to give my rose to the mentalist. I loved him. Anytime there's a great date that I always shit on the dates. So if there's a great date, I have to give it my rose. Have to give it the credit. I'm gonna cut the stem. Ooh, I'm trying to think of something I didn't like tonight. Oh, you know what I'm cutting the stem of? And I feel bad doing this, but I just had to because I was like laughing and it was just like so overly dramatic. It was Zach's conversation with Greer, breaking up with her when she was like saying goodbye and saying all her thank yous, but she was whispering. And I was
that was killing me.
I was like, I feel so bad, but like, girl, speak up. Like, you sound silly. Like, what do you like? Come on, man. Like, this is I felt so bad. I was like, I know how you're feeling right now. And I'd be the same. You're trying not to cry. You're trying not to like freak the fuck out. But like, it was not even like a small voice. It was a straight up whisper. And she was like, thank you so much. I just appreciate your time. Like, I can't even whisper as low as she was whispering.
In the interview, she did it too. Like even afterwards, she was still talking like that.
And I felt bad, but like somebody should have given her an extra minute so she could stop whispering and tell her part of the story. You know what I mean? So I gotta cut it. I'm sorry to Greer for that.
Okay, Fran, you go.
All right, mine is my rose will be going to bathhouses. Major trend of this entire last few trips. I felt like there's been some kind of tub, spa, bathhouse in every single date.
They were embracing the culture.
Like, yes, they were like, this is this country's biggest bathhouse, and here's this one. A lot of bathhouses. I will be cutting the stem, and it's not a direct hit to these people, but the poor like townspeople that they have to like get involved, like that old couple in the water. They're playing chess, and he's like, "Where are you from?" Like, I'm like, who are these people, and where did they come from? Are they paid to do this? Like,
they're not. I remember having dates where you'd be like, go up to that couple and see what they're up to. But they were like prepped on everything. So you're like, okay, we're doing anything. But they are real. So those two really were married, and that's really sweet. But
that is very sweet. I just don't like that we always act like the people don't know they're being filmed on a TV show. No matter what, that couple or person or like it's
so many cameras.
Season, they go without fail. They ask the question, "Oh, how long have you guys been together? Like, are you dating?" It's like, what? Can't we just skip over that one?
I know. It's like they walk up to them and they're holding like an upside down newspaper, like waiting for their cue. That's like what these people are like. That's how obvious it is. But yeah, I think that they make them ask that question just to see how they answer it, because that's like an awkward question that you get asked in the real world. You know what I mean?
Are we dating? And then like
how long?
Zach said like 7 months for Kate, or 7 weeks for Kaity, and then Brooklyn was like a month. Like so they have different times.
Right. Yeah. He's probably just like, this doesn't matter. These are strangers. Like I don't have to be truthful. But I do think that's like it's funny. I'm only realizing it now, but like that happens in real life when you're dating someone, but you're not really sure, like, what's our status? Are we dating? Are we together? Are we exclusive? Whatever. And then you go out and you go see like an old couple on the corner who's like, you two are cute. How long have you been together? And it's like an awkward question. It's a make or break it. And I do appreciate them like replicating it, even though it's very contrived, but it's funny to me.
Okay, Kaitlyn, what do you got?
My rose is definitely going to this guy. Wait for it.
Who is that guy? Oh God.
Oh, the guy floating. Oh my God. I didn't even see
Love him. Floating guy. Love him.
He's just like actually doing his normal trip to the bathhouse. Like just being
he's just trying to live his authentic life, and he's like the butt of the joke, like them kissing, and he's just like living his truth, floating. Yeah. And my rose goes.
He's like, I paid for this. Like these cameras aren't going to stop me. I paid for this. Like.
Yeah. He's like, this is my moment.
Yes.
And then, okay, this might get me in trouble, but my stem cut, I'm cutting Zach.
Oh,
that's fine.
I needed more.
Sometimes you have to cut the Bachelor.
We've done it many
more. Times. Oh, you have? Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to.
Guys
sometimes he deserves
it.
it.
Okay. Yeah. To me, I know how hard that position is. And I know there's so many times where you're like, I don't know how I can do this anymore and fake this or like go on or play this role. But I needed a little more from him tonight.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
I agree.
It's a good cut.
And there is like that little alarm bell going off, I think, in the back of all of our heads, like every time he sends home a girl because of like one small conflict, especially girls that he had such a connection with at the beginning, that it's like, where did this go wrong? Like, especially like with Jess and Kat, like it was like it seemed so strong, and then it just all of a sudden, bam, it's gone. So
yeah, and I have to. Man. He really does. I always think too. Would I deserve for my stem to be cut during my season? Yes, and you have to be okay with that because you cannot be a perfect lead at all times, and it's understandable.
Exactly.
It's completely fine. Everybody makes mistakes.
There's probably at least one time every season that everybody on this show cuts the lead stem, if not more than once.
And I get it.
So it happens for sure. I know. But guys, this was amazing. Kaitlyn, thank you for joining us.
Oh, don't you thank me? I begged to be here.
I know. This is
always
absolute delight. Yes. Everyone in the chat, make sure you're also showing Kaitlyn some love for coming on here with us and supporting everything that she does. And you're the best. Thank you for coming on.
You guys
Kelly,
are the best.
Always a pleasure, my dear.
Always a pleasure, Francesca.
Cheers.
Was I drinking alone tonight? Was I drinking alone?
Yes.
No, I was on the internet.
No, I wasn't. Never. Yeah. You're never drinking alone if you're on the internet.
Never. Exactly.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye, everybody.
Toodles.
Bye.